What's up, Flobo? Episode number 50. Episode number 50. We did this 50 episodes, 50 Mondays, every Monday night. The Monday Night Delight, 10 p.m. Pacific, 1 o'clock Tuesday a.m. Eastern. How you guys are living? Let me know in the chat below, because right now we're streaming live on that Facebook, that YouTube, and that Twitter, and that Twitch. And every question or comments you have, we'll be answering those throughout the course of the show. But speaking of, without these patrons, if you will, the members of the Boisterous crew, there will be no show. That's right. Patreon.com/Flobo Boyce is where you want to go to unlock bonus content, extra interviews, and my exclusive show, Flo Beatles Book Club. It's worth a scam. So I gotta give a big shout out, as always, to Christopher C, Christy H, ACH, Ezric P, Oliver E, Princess Leia, Matthew C, Lindsay U, and Richard R. You guys make this show a reality. And of course, if you guys are watching this right now, make sure you share it. Tell a friend about it. I have a Discord as well. I don't really know what's going on with that. No one's joined my Discord. Please help me a brother out. Help a brother out with any of that cool stuff. But it's after hours. And as always, I am not alone. I'm being joined by one of the most quixotic individuals I have ever met in my life. He's an encyclopedia. He does so much things on the real life space and the digital space. He is the co-owner or the owner of the Wrestling Chatter and a co-host of the After 83 Weeks podcast. Please welcome George Hermoza.
Yeah, there's no co-owner on that. It's all me. But first things first, you need to give me the number of your graphics guy. Because that intro is like Naomi,
It's actually me, but thanks, appreciate it.
Well, then give me your number because
you have my number.
I need. Well, I mean, you know, that I don't know how many compliments you get on a regular basis, but that intro is like Emmy level.
You know, I should get an Emmy, but I have to celebrate my Nixon Award winner for Best On-Camera Talent for the show. Nice segue. I appreciate that. George, you know, enough about me rambling about things I love to talk about, which is myself. What's going on, man? It's been a long time since I was able to talk to you in the virtual space. How you living, bro?
I mean, I'm honored to be number 50. That's kind of a monumental number. You can call me JFK because I'm just straight up on that 50, you know? Or should I be call me JFK or Grant? Which one do you think?
That's a deep cut, man. Either one works, man. I think JFK, the $50, right?
Yeah.
See, I got references. Hell yeah. Yo, talk to me, man. It's Monday night. Did you watch Raw today? I mean, what does a Monday night look like now for you?
I saw the first half. I mean, my schedule's a little out of sync. It used to be, you know, very Justin, JC, Lance, Joey, and Chris, very in sync. But now it's out of sync.
That's a pun. Because, I was talking about puns before the show. I said no puns.
I'm going to try to. Well, that was one. So puns would be plural. So that's my first one. Therefore, no more after that one. So we'll see how that goes. It's a little out of sync because I do a lot of freelance production work. And some days I'm working on a Monday night, and sometimes I'm not. This week I was off today, and I was able to catch a little bit of Monday Night Raw, and I don't know if I'll be able to catch the rest of it because I have to wake up very early tomorrow.
Oh, what's early for you?
6.
Woo! You did this show. Yo, thank you so much. I had no idea. I had no idea at all.
I mean, I was gonna maybe call it catch some Z's maybe at around 11:15, 11:20. So just don't have your producer cut me off too late, you know. But
yeah,
you know, maybe like 11:15ish.
I thought you were gonna get some Z's at 10:15. I was like, right in the middle of the show. you're gonna pop a squat and like, yeah. So here's the question I have for you about the Wrestling Chatter, man. I mean, I remember when you first launched it. It's your baby. I hate to use that euphemism, but people use it anyway. I mean, what was the idea behind that, especially in the throes of the pandemic?
I mean, I've always wanted to do something. And I remember I'd be pitching ideas to just people in general, as far as maybe people that we know. And then I just wanted, and it was just, maybe it was, and you were there along with me as far as coming up with content. We kind of came up through the AfterBuzz system. And I'm sure, and especially watching ESPN, watching all those like ESPN shows and Fox Sports during the pandemic, they looked very, and to no fault of their own, obviously there's a lot bigger things in the world, but those shows looked very low budget, I guess you can say. But again, it's something that just had to be done. And it was something where I can do this too, right? Like there's no way that I can't do something that they can do, especially during this time. And then we all kind of like to talk about wrestling anyways. And you know me, and we all like those hot takes. Those are the ones that kind of get, people, their tempers flaring or boiling. And I wanted to kind of incorporate a little bit of like the ESPN and pro wrestling. I think there's a lot of narratives that are being told as far as like, I don't want to badmouth anybody because, they all do good jobs in their own way. But some of these narratives that they're being told today is like very anti WWE, very pro AEW because it's a cool thing to do, right? I wanted to eliminate that coolness factor and really add on to more and more analytical. Like if you feel like you got a hot take and you can back it up, let's do it. I don't want to hear like we got a mutual friend of ours that's very anti Roman Reigns and anti Usos, and that's his personal opinion, right? But I want more analytical. I want more like if you don't like them, explain to me why, and don't just say it because I don't like them, And again, I like this person a lot, and I told him we've had conversations about just kind of going back and forth as far as what's your beef with certain people and whatnot. But either way, it's all in fun. But but again, it was more analytical. I wanted to be the ESPN of pro wrestling because I feel like we don't really see that too much as far as and it's very weird, I guess you can say, because it's pro wrestling. Yeah. Right? Like how do you add that sports analytical approach to pro freaking wrestling? So it was just more like a challenge to accept it. So it's just something I did. And also like a lot of the interviews that you've personally joined me on an interview before. And I just wanted to add a more specific kind of approach to certain interviews, like where it's like, I don't want to hear about your entire career. I want to hear about one specific aspect of your career and maybe elaborate on that, like the Victoria episode, where she has got a great career, but I want to hear about her amazing feud with Trish Stratus and really deep dive into that, and really break down some of the matches and the feud that she had. Even like talking to Victoria, and it's still a record to this day, she wasn't even aware that she was the last woman to win a women's championship in Madison Square Garden. She's literally that, like, as of now, there's nobody since Victoria to have won a women's championship in Madison Square Garden since Survivor Series 2002. And so it's pretty cool kind of breaking it down, letting her know that she was like, oh my God, like I wasn't even aware. That's awesome,
Yeah, I have to agree with you. The wrestling chat has been a lot of fun to be a part of. And to answer your question, and for those of you who are watching this being like, look, man, I don't really do wrestling. What's that matter to me? It's presented as a sport, but it is predetermined. And so it's very easy to get into a trap of what are the writers thinking? Or I have not heard about some people saying this person's booked right or wrong and become a wrestling fan. I think Draped in Gold is very similar. We treat it as if we're like Skip and Shannon or Speak for Yourself. We do the whole back and forth thing because it is kind of like no one's quite doing that, which I totally respect. But just real quick, I'm going to go into some questions here in the chat for you. My man Dave, who says, are you still wrestling at Wrestling Pro Wrestling? Show's coming up?
Unfortunately not. Unfortunately, we had the pandemic ruin everything. But I still keep in contact with the people that run Wrestling Pro Wrestling, and they say, hopefully good things coming in the horizon as far as WPW goes. When they open back up again, I'll be the first one on that list, wanting to perform on one of those shows. I've done other shows since then, but I mean, WPW is a definite blast. So I'm happy that David was his name. Yeah. Shout out to David because he knows what's up as far as WPW goes. Like those are really fun shows. It attracts wrestling fans and non-wrestling fans. Like you'd be surprised how many non-wrestling fans go to those shows because it's not really a wrestling show. It is, we all kind of convince ourselves if it's got a wrestling ring in the middle of the place of the venue, it's a wrestling show, which it kind of is. But it also kind of like it's a little fun for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. I want to give a shout out to David because he's one of the few guys who checked out my Discord because no one else is on the Discord. Oh, nice. Go to my Discord.
Shout out to David.
JLJ Media asks, do you watch yourself on camera?
Watching it right now? Yes. Watching it back? No. No, it's not that. Not that I don't. I have no desire to. Like I was there. You know, I mean, maybe I like watch back some of my matches because like I kind of want to see like what I could do better, things like that. But as far as like interviews go, like not really. I every now and then I do get a kick out of watching like old 2014, 2015 AfterBuzz content just so I can see, you know, maybe where I was 5, 6 years ago in terms of just growth and whatnot. And it's just fun to watch sometimes, kind of seeing, you know, Josh Tariff. And I remember I was watching an older AfterBuzz from like 2014, and like Steve Kaufman looked so young. He's still young, but like it was cleanly shaven Steve Kaufman, and I'm like, Jesus, like, wow, that's wow.
Yeah, I see that was the prime days. I was in the AfterBuzz towards the end. I can say that now. Towards the end of AfterBuzz is when I joined in, so I don't remember the house or anything like that. You know, one of the cool things I hear about you, George, when people are talking about you behind your back, is that you have an encyclopedic knowledge of wrestling, and we won't go into that because we can tell each and every week on the After 83 Weeks podcast. Question I have for you is though, do people say you have an encyclopedic knowledge of other things? Like, are you just have like a backstory knowledge of like boy bands, or are you amazing with pizza toppings? Like, what's your vibe?
If I were to say, I'd say maybe music as well. Maybe more so like 90s, especially 90s and 2000s. Maybe more in that pop genre. Maybe the boy band as well. I was a big boy band guy in the late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah. Oh man, I won't school anybody in boy bands. But like
2 weeks like in a row, guys. 2 weeks in a row.
and maybe not necessarily like exact dates, but I can tell you maybe what grade or maybe which year I was in. Like, for example, I remember, I want to say it was like May 22nd. That was when 2000, Britney Spears' Oops, I Did It Again album came out, because I remember me and my buddy Ryan skipping out on first period of school so we can go, it was like 3 blocks away, to the Warehouse Music on the corner of Roscoe and Van Nuys to buy the Britney album. And I remember like we were like, yeah, we got the Britney album, the second album, and then going back to school, and we like checked in because we were already like, yeah, I know it was like our last week at school, you know, like we didn't care. And you know, going to the place because we were late, and we got our late slip, and we go to our third period class because our school was weird. It was like Monday was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then Tuesday was 3, 2, 4, 5, 6, 1. It was just weird as far as like the but anyways, and I remember going to the first period class of the day, and like we give our slip to the teacher, be like, hey, sorry we're late. And he was like, you guys were late? Like I didn't even notice. So I was like, oh, I got a tardy for nothing. But
wow.
But I remember really skipping or leaving early to specifically get the Britney Spears Oops, I Did It Again album. But go ahead.
No, was Britney Spears your favorite artist of the time?
I was more of a Christina fan. But overall, like I was just a big pop music guy. Like I loved like everything like about like all those girls that were hot at that time, hot as in like popular, and like all the boy bands. Like I can go on and on about the amazingness of boy bands, which we might as well, right? But yeah, in response to your question, at the time, yes, but looking back, I think NSYNC was clearly superior. But in response to your question, music.
Okay, yeah,
more popular music too. Like I can school anybody on rap, but once you get onto the underground stuff, like I'm like, whoa, like that's a little too deep for me. Yeah. But mostly like the 90s, 2000s, like pop genre, not just pop music, but also like just whatever was on the radio, whatever was on playing on MTV Jams, or you know, BET's Video Soul or Rap City. Like that was my thing, where it's like Rap whatever City was on TV, I was hooked on all kinds of music back then.
I got kind of late to that because I got cable when I was about 17. Like, so I got into the whole BETINY and Rap City pretty late, but it was kind of a cool thing where you could tell the kind of person who was a Britney person or Christina or 90 Degrees versus NSYNC. I liked NSYNC as a kid, but I'm the opposite. I feel like the more I listened to it, I think the Backstreet Boys were a man band.
You know what it is? It's Backstreet Boys couldn't dance. Like they were very like, you can tell they were just going through the motions.
Right.
But NSYNC can just dance. Like they'll just dance the night away. But BSB was more like, oh, let's do choreography because we're a boy band and we feel like we have to. As I feel like NSYNC, they wanted to.
Could New Kids dance or no?
Can New Kids
on the Block dance, or is that before your time?
That was kind of in the beginning of just me being super young and kind of realizing stuff. You know what I mean? Because like you're a kid and you know stuff, but like you don't really. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like just
Appreciate.
yeah, I get, yeah. So that was a little. I remember them, but that was more before. That was during a time where I felt like it might go into a deep conversation where it's like because I'm Hispanic, I felt like I had to listen to a certain type of music,
Yeah.
right? Like for whatever reason, like. And again, it was just an observation, right? Nobody taught me this. Nobody sat me down and said this. It was just an observation where a lot of Black people listen to rap music, a lot of white people listen to rock music, a lot of Latin people listen to Latino music. You know, it's just an observation, right?
Oh yeah, I agree.
So at the time, it was like, oh, I shouldn't listen to New Kids on the Block because I'm not a little girl. You know what I mean? Like I'm not a teenage girl. So it wasn't until again I was much older where I was like, oh, like I don't care what I can listen to whatever I want. I'm not defined by my skin color or nationality. So, but again, when I was a kid, it was like they were there, but I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to listen to New Kids on the Block, you know, because again, I'm not a teenage girl.
It's funny because I'm the same way music wise, but they had that Saturday morning cartoon that I was like, oh, at least I can watch that and be like, oh.
Yeah.
And if you guys watched this show last week, I talked to my guest Rodriguez about buying the Bewitched single at the record store, like you know, looking around my shoulder, seeing if it was okay for me to buy this girl pop group. So I totally get it, man.
What was their other song? The roller coaster one?
Yeah, Roller Coaster. That's what it was.
That was my jam.
That was the B-side. Yep. No one knows that. Oh my! See, this is what I'm talking about, George. You're just deep.
Dude, I'm all about like because like everybody's like obviously the big two were BSB and NSYNC, but then obviously you had your kind of a distant third. It was like the ECW where it's like they were there and there were times where they were like maybe on the cusp, but they were never going to get the BSB and sync level. You had the 98 Degrees. They were the ECW of the boy bands.
Yeah.
Or you can
LFO.
say maybe the Ring of Honor. Yeah, you had LFO. Youngstown. Remember Youngstown?
Oh, yeah.
From the
Mr. Gadget?
Inspector Gadget young. You
I
had
just freak you with my I'll be your everything.
You had 3T with anything.
Yeah.
You had what was the other one?
O-Town.
Yeah, O-Town was dope.
My liquid dreams.
That was a very inappropriate song.
I still remember that song, dude. Like word for, I could sing it. Like I could probably karaoke. My friends don't think I'm lazy, but
what was the other one? There was another one that I was thinking of. Oh, 5. Remember 5?
5.
5 spelled number 5, IVE.
What was the one that did
when the lights go out?
The one that did Love Sensation.
Love Sensation?
Yeah, the one from the Casper soundtrack. There were another one. 911. That was another one too. Ooh, don't go chasing Rio. Okay, I'm done. I can't sing. That's why I spin music, y'all. I can't sing to save my life.
But yeah, and it's funny. I had I remember back in the Columbia House days because I was, this was me not caring what music I listened to, but I was not going to be caught in public buying an album. Right. So I remember buying the BSB and the NSYNC albums through the Columbia House, 12 CDs for a penny. I was like, yes, I can finally get these albums without people watching me in the watching whatever. But I remember buying BSB's second album at this place called Backside Records in Burbank, and I was like, I don't care anymore. Like, I bought all the other ones in the stores at the Tower Records and whatever, you know.
I want to give a big shout out to Ric Flair in the chat. Woo! That's coming by.
Also, I saw one of David's comments. Referee Isaac Hayes. I just saw him yesterday. I saw referee Isaac Hayes yesterday. So shout out to Isaac Hayes.
Well, he did ask a question about your favorite wrestler from different time periods. You want to go into that at all?
Sure. I mean, I guess name a time period. I mean, it's probably going to be either Shawn or Taker. Just because. I mean, I grew up a Hulkamaniac until I found out that he wasn't a kind of a. I don't want to go there completely, but it definitely lost a lot when that happened back in 2015. Sure. It's like, yay, I want to cheer for you, but it's like definitely not the same as pre 2015. You know what I'm saying?
But before that, I got into wrestling in '93. So like even then, Hogan was the guy from Thunder in Paradise to me. He wasn't like the. So like I can't say I was never a Hulkamaniac, but he wasn't like it was a flash in the pan type deal.
Yeah.
But that's cool, man.
But I was a Hogan fan growing up. I remember being one of the few people in my school to root for Hogan at WrestleMania 6. Everybody else would root for the Ultimate Warrior. I mean, as I got older, like I think HBK is the man. I think he's just the number one wrestler of all time. Taker was more like a guy growing up. And just recently, I mean, I think I will fight anybody to the death. Literally fight anybody to the death if anybody says that Roman isn't like the top guy in all of WWE right now.
Oh, what would be the other option? Bobby Lashley? Like what? Like not to shade him, but it's like who's the other option?
Yeah, of course. So like anything that Roman's on right now, I'm like hooked. Like I don't fast forward. I don't fast forward anything regardless. Like I literally watch every minute of every second of like Raw and SmackDown and all that stuff.
You're a brave man. With
that said, I don't fast forward anything, but if it's that good, I'll rewatch it. And I rewatch. We're shooting this, June 14th. Oh, I forgot to pay a bill. June 14th. And this past Friday was like a Roman. I don't know if you saw SmackDown, but it was a Roman segment with like Jimmy Uso.
Yeah.
And like I've already watched that like 5 times because like Roman's delivery is just literally perfection.
The Jedi mind trick scene.
Yeah, and it's one of those where is it a Jedi mind trick? Is he trying to mess with the mic? Because I don't see any lies in what he's saying. You know what I mean? It's and again I just thought it was you can go there, but also like hey, he's making a lot of good points too.
All right, gonna root for Lex Luthor while you're at it. Jack Farmer says, "Bam, Roman is the top guy in WWE right now. Let's fight." Oh snap! Nah, I'm just kidding.
You and me, Santino's tomorrow night. I know you're going to be there one of these days. Don't be surprised if I walk in ready to fight Jack Farmer.
Jack Farmer's on the collar and elbow. The whole world is upside down. Like this guy can rock a tie and a toe hole at the same damn time.
That should be his gimmick: wrestling in a tie.
Nothing with a tie. Just
yeah, he does everything else in a tie. Might as well wrestle in a tie.
Weird. That's totally weird. But one of the things I like to learn about you, George, is that people say you are mysterious. Like, everyone gets to hear what you're saying, but no one's really knows the other layers of George Hermoza. What's the one thing you would think in your mind that you wish people asked you questions about more?
I think just in general, it's one of those things where it's maybe the insecurity, but like I just feel like people don't care. It's like, and it's not that they don't care. It's just like, I don't know. Maybe just I'd rather hear about other people or just I don't know. It's one of those things where one of the reasons why I got into like production is because like I don't want to be an actor. I want to be the guy behind the camera. Like I want to be, I mean, if it comes my way, like if somebody says like, hey, we want to put you in a movie, I don't want to be a star. I definitely want to play a part, but I'd rather be behind the camera. So maybe that's something to that extent. Yeah. And even growing up as a kid, I'm like, I thought I wanted to be an actor because I thought that was like the cool thing to do, but just kind of getting involved in that area, it's like, no, like I think it's a little bit more rewarding. For example, if you're an actor, you show up, you do your lines, and that's it. You show up, do your lines to your best ability, and then you leave. Like that's pretty much what an actor does. Right. As opposed to like, I'd rather be the guy putting the whole thing together. I think that's more rewarding than whatever. So I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with it as far as not that people don't care, but like,
right.
I don't know. Like I'm here for whatever people want to know. Like I'm not a closed book in terms of, things like that. But at the same time, like if somebody wants to know something, you can just ask. Like I'm not.
Just catch them in the streets. No, but I was mentioning you said about being in behind the scenes, but how do you reconcile that with being one of the more outseen host here, and even the post after Buzz era? I mean, after 83 weeks, Eric Bischoff, you're on there front and center. You have your own digital network. Like, what's that balance going on in your brain?
So with that, and it's funny because like I was watching In Your House 95 yesterday, right? The very first In Your House ever, May 14th. No, it's not as random because after watching Takeover In Your House, it made me want to watch the first In Your House. So yes, random, but I was inspired by the Takeover In Your House. But yeah, so I was like, I kind of want to see Bret Hart Hakushi because I've been on a Bret fix recently, right? So I was like, I want to see his match against Hakushi. And I was watching, and Vince McMahon was commentating. And I think he's a little underrated as a commentator. I think he was a great commentator. But at the same time, I felt like as great as his other commentators were, Gorilla, JR, a lot of other people, only Vince McMahon can deliver what Vince McMahon wants. Like he knows in his mind how he can deliver, what he's trying to accomplish. And not that I feel like nobody else can do that. There's a lot of people that can. It's this weird dichotomy of like, I'm on, especially the wrestling chatter stuff. Like, I know what I want to get out of people and what the messages that I want to convey. And because it's still kind of new and fresh, I want to kind of set the tone, so that way if anybody else kind of wants to kind of come in and do what I'm doing, which I would love,
right?
Then I'd like to think that I set the blueprint of how I want somebody to be, in terms of maybe like hosting or being part of the discussion, to the point where like, when we interviewed Vampiro, like I was like, Jack, like, would you love to be kind of the head of, the interview, like introducing the interview, closing it out. Like, I want you to be kind of the head guy. Cause like, I again, part of it is I don't want that main stage, I guess you can say. And I have no problem passing it on to whoever else wants it at the same time. And I mean, as far as AfterBuzz too, where it's like, I think in order to get good behind the camera, you got to know what to expect in front of the camera.
Agreed.
Or, and vice versa too, right? If you want to be really good in front of the camera, you got to know what the people behind the camera are going to want from you, and vice versa. So I think I try to really explore every avenue just so I can get better at whatever it is that I'm trying to do.
Jack Farmer adds on, was very cool of George letting me be a part of the interview with Vampiro. And I have to say, it was pretty cool that I was able to be a part of Jonathan Coachman. I wish my computer wasn't totally terrible, but it inspired me to buy a real setup after that day. And I totally missed my shot. So if there's a part two, holla at your boy. But I mean, why is it you think that is? Do you think people just like look at someone, they say, oh, he looked a certain way, he's that way, and they don't even bother getting to know the real George Hermoza? I mean, you're a complex dude. You love some things. I didn't know you're a boy band guy till about 10 minutes ago. You seem to be rife with cool personality traits. Why people give you a chance, baby?
I'm a big 90s sitcom guy too.
Oh, me too. What was your favorite? Top three. Hit me out. Top three.
90s in the 90s. I mean, looking back, Fresh Prince, but like at the time, like Family Matters was my jam. Saved by the Bell.
Okay.
I just binge watched like all of Saved by the Bell in like the last week, just so I can get ready for that new one.
The original.
Yeah. And man, like Zach Morris was not a nice guy, but like, and yes, I've seen that YouTube. That show was Zach Morris Trash, which is hilarious. I guess maybe Boy Meets World. I mean, there's too many to name, like Fresh Prince, Family Matters, Boy Meets World, Step by Step, pretty much all of TGIF. Full House was dope.
What? No, it wasn't. Full House is the most overrated sitcom of all time. How you have a sitcom with no jokes? Cut it out, Mr. Woodchuck. Are you kidding me?
I meant at the time. At the time, it was good. Or it was good for me, yeah. But I mean, even The Simpsons. I was a big Simpsons guy. I remember watching some of the early episodes. So yeah, I mean that was the thing.
Were you a must-see TV person?
Yes, but more so for like maybe wrestling, because there was like only on like 2-3 hours a week as opposed to now, where it's like on every single day. But I'd like to. School kind of got interfered with a lot. Like I tried to watch a lot of the other stuff, like Roseanne. I remember wanting to watch Roseanne. I remember watching a few episodes. What else was like? Oh, like I remember Dinosaurs was a fun show. But no, I mean, it wasn't until maybe like in my late teens, where I was really like, all right, it's Thursday, I gotta watch Friends or things like that. But
yeah, I got you. Well,
not as a kid.
The chat done blew up. We're talking about sitcoms, and Sherman says, "Full House is my favorite of the '90s." Oh, there's so much better shows out there. Like, what was the?
You're right. But I'm saying at the time, Full House was the number one show.
I understand. Maybe it's a personal thing. Maybe I'm turning heel on Michelle Tanner. I'm just saying. Shots fired. You're damn right it is. I'll fight tooth and nail. There's so many good shows in TGIF. Simpsons deserve more credit. I think so too. If you want, I think I said this on the Everything Tournament, Jack. There was a time, I'll say seasons 11 through 18, where it wasn't good at all. But like 19 to present has been such a renaissance for that show, but everyone's just kind of got off the bus. Seinfeld's a good one. That's in my top 3. My favorite sitcom of all time is Action News Radio.
You're gonna end this conversation right now.
I want to end it?
You're going to end it. I have never seen an episode of Seinfeld.
Okay. So you have to go out of your way to not see Seinfeld, though. He's always in syndication. So what it comes on, you go, nah.
Just it never got into it. But the thing is,
wait, how did I get into it if you never saw it before?
No. Here's the thing: is like if you notice, like I never say for anything, like I never say I don't like Seinfeld. I'm not a fan of Seinfeld. It just never. I never watched it. Like it was something that never. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. It's in syndication all the time, not as much as Friends, but like it just never. It was just never like I never caught on to it. Like I remember when I would record Friends, the reruns, and then it would record like the first minute of Seinfeld for whatever reason. Like I never just watched. Maybe one day I will, but it's just our paths have never crossed.
I will say this as someone who's a fan of it: you have to watch one episode to realize you hate it or not, because it's one of those things that it's like Friends. It's been around so long. It's a big like cultural thing. Just watch it and say one episode and go nah or yeah. That's all that I'm asking. Apparently, I love Carolina City. I used to stay up late just to hear a theme song, the second season theme song, just to go to bed. And bam, step by step. Yeah, we're going crazy. Yeah,
another one that our paths have never crossed. And again, this is something that, man, like I feel like I'm the only one that's never watched the show, and that's The Office.
Yeah, I never saw it.
Everybody loves it. Our paths never crossed.
I haven't tried The Office. I have no inkling to try The Office, but at the same time, I can't be like I never got into The Office because I didn't give it a shot. I did not give it a shot at all.
I'm the same way with Seinfeld and The Office, and there's a few others I'm sure. But
shout out to Nisa Bar, who's also at everything in The Office. Say that we got a little group going there. Forget y'all. So many good sitcoms from that time period. I really wish News Radio got a lot more credit than it deserved. A pre-Fear Factor Joe Rogan doing his thing. Phil Hartman, rest in peace. Parks and Rec. Saw a couple episodes on a plane, so pretty much out of order, I guess.
Although I am a big SNL guy.
So when you say you're an SNL guy, because I have to ask this question because I'm doing a variety show right now, right? Do you watch an episode top to bottom? Do you watch just the sketches? Do you do just the music performance? How do you consume your SNL?
Every single minute I watch, and even because I just have it on record, so that way it just records all of them. Yeah. If it's a first time airing, I'll watch every minute. If it's the rerun, I'll just kind of fast forward the ones that I remember were not that good, but for the most part, I still kind of rewatch it.
Wow, I have no idea there's so many SNL people. I remember recording the first rock appearance back in the day, like 20 years ago.
2000 with AC/DC as the guest, musical guest.
Yeah, that's the one. Mr. Peepers, Nick Trell, and the other
Nick Trell's like, you don't talk to Nick Trell that way.
So you guys haven't seen it. He plays like a anti-smoking patch, but he's actually the person that beats you up if you smoke. It's pretty dope. But I kind of watch it when someone says to me a sketch, I'll watch the sketch. I kind of do the bite-sized thing about that. Mad TV's a good one. Yeah.
It's funny because so there was this weird thing where it's like I didn't have DVR until 2010. And so I just kind of watched intermittently SNL. Not that I didn't become a fan. It wasn't. I had other things going on Saturday nights at 11:30, and I felt like I was always missing some good stuff, like all those digital shorts. And it's one of those where I hated hearing secondhand about Dick in a Box, about just all these fantastic digital shorts. So I was like, no, I have to record it because I want to be the one to watch it and tell everybody, dude, you have to watch this specific. And Living Color was my jam. I will school anybody on Living Color. Thanks, JLJ. But yeah, so SNL kind of became must watch, even though I think it's recently in the last 5 years, it definitely not as good as it used to be. There's still some gems, to be honest with you, but 2008, 2012 is gold SNL.
Yeah. I look at sketches here and there. Did you have a favorite digital short, by the way? I'm just curious.
Yes. God, there's so many. Ask me tomorrow, I'll be a different answer.
Yeah.
One day it'll be I'm on a boat. I think the greatest digital short is Lazy Sunday. Oh, I think that's so genius. That to me is better than most rap songs out there. I don't know. I honestly think all three guys from the '99 are genius. But again, ask me today, it can be Dick in a Box. Tomorrow it can be I Just Had Sex. Featuring Akon. I'm not even an Akon fan, but I thought that was amazing.
Just My Pants is the other one.
Yeah, even YOLO with Kendrick and Adam, that's a good one too. But oh man, ask me any day of the week. I'll ask me the next 10 days, they'll all be 10 different answers.
My favorite one was actually Boy Dance Party because I was like, yeah, we just wanted
with Bruce Willis.
Yeah, it's a boy dance party.
You know what? A great one too is like, I want to say I think I saw it live and not secondhand. Was the Comeback Barack.
Oh yeah.
That was amazing. Like that was a fantastic one.
I love it, man. SNL is one of those shows and when it's on, I go, but then when someone goes, remember that sketch? Like, oh yeah, I go nuts all the time. It's crazy.
Yeah, early '90s, like as James mentioned it, like Adam said, like early '90s SNL was just, to me, that was flawless.
Yeah, flawless indeed. And well, before we talk about things you love, before we went live today, you saw my hat and you said you're a Dodgers fan, and well, we're trying to get ourselves a little bit of a throwdown before then. This is a quick question. I don't want to spend too much time on this because our audience hates the sport of baseball. But real quickly, how did you become a fan? Are you a fan today? And why do you think the fandom is evaporating?
Born and raised in Los Angeles, just growing up as an only child, like TV was my outlet. So whatever was I always think about this a lot too. I'm assuming we're around the same age. Back when we were kids, like everybody on TV was like a big deal, right? It's not like today where it's like people on TV or people that want social media, whatever it is. Not trashing it. Just it is what it is.
Trash.
So like movie stars were legit movie stars. Like there was no straight to VHS back then. It was like Arnold made at least 100 mil in every movie that he did, right? And just kind of flipping, just everything, even with sports. Like sports was like, these are like big time stars for me, and just I just kind of used sports as well as like just to watch. And the best thing was like I was obsessed with like the sports page, so I always just look at the stats. I always just look at just how like they come up with the numbers, like who's got the most home runs through June, who's got the most RBIs, or we even like basketball, like points per game or whatever. Like, and I was just a big fan of LA sports. So just growing up, big Laker fan, Dodger fan, Clipper fan, even an Angels fan. Like I'm all about LA sports. So I just kind of always sunk in. I wouldn't say sports fandom is like dwindling.
I mean, yeah.
But I think just different time. Like there's just more options now.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like specifically though with baseball, it's kind of like a thing where it's like, well, you watch that old archaic sport, it's so boring.
People don't realize it's like MMA, right? Where it's like you watch MMA and like, oh man, these guys they're not throwing bones at each other. They're not fighting. They're just on the ground. But it's like if to really appreciate it, like you got to really know the sport. Like it's part of the sport trying to like one up your guy. And same thing with baseball. Like it's not just throwing a ball, trying them not to hit it. It's like, like you got a guy on first, you got, the next guy's up to, on deck. Oh man, I don't want to get that guy. I want to get this guy out before I get, it's a lot more formulaic and a lot more of a thought process behind than people think when it comes to baseball.
Yeah, when it comes to like sports in general, when people say like I'm a soccer fan, because I think soccer, football, and baseball are similar in that people say that either one of them are boring for different reasons. Where I feel like it's all about anticipation, right? When you're playing in soccer, when you're on the pitch, it may be a goal there. It is a really important pitch. That's that wind up. And if you're watching football, for me, I played the stuff. There's something really annoying about going for 10 seconds than waiting for another 35.
Yeah.
Going for 10 seconds and go. And so I didn't even get into it. Like NFL, I got so bored of it that only when the XFL came around, bringing it back to wrestling, y'all. When XFL came around, I was like, at least finally someone's put up the clock there, because I played a nose guard when I was in high school. It was like, you know what I mean?
That's funny.
But Jack Farmer says 2 games in baseball. I was curious about that because I feel like I'm one of the few guys that have to do it for our future generations to help people watch more games about that. But moving on, because I have a bunch of questions I have to ask you. Just quickly, you don't have to go too deep into this. But sorry, David said NFL is kayfabe. That was pretty funny. Do you consider yourself a religious person? Why or why not?
I don't consider myself religious. Or I'm sorry. I don't consider myself super religious. I mean, I do believe in God. I was raised Catholic, and I do identify as Catholic. Without going too deep into it, I was never a big churchgoer, and because I think more so because I had more questions than answers. So it was like this whole aspect of like, if God is everywhere, then why do I need to go to church? Like I thought, Am I going to go to hell because I'm not going to? But I do everything else right. And again, but it was just a lot more questions than there were answers, right? So it just a lot, and not that I believe in things less. I mean, I do have certain things in the Bible, like why did, like how, it's too many like Adam and Eve questions, right? But like, I mean, I don't. I think most people use religion as an excuse to think of themselves as good or bad. I don't. I just try to be good in general, regardless of what God may think of me. I mean, I don't believe in God having a plan for me. I think that takes away our ability to have free will. Yeah. I think God gave us the chance to have free will, and kind of said, hey man, like I can't get involved with all these things. Like there's like 5 billion or 10 billion people in the world. Like can't be everywhere. Like, listen, like I gave you guys, the foundation. Listen, like you guys can make or break this world. It's up to you guys, but so I'm not super religious. I'm not super spiritual, but there's a lot more questions that I have that I know there's no point to even exploring because there's never going to be a clear answer.
The reason why I asked you that is not to like put you on a spot there. So I don't have your priest on the
No, of course.
Is that when someone like yourself that tends to ask a lot of questions are very logical or for different kind of a background, I wonder, is it be one that either one it tends to be someone on the outside of the spectrum or someone who's really, really into their personal relationships? That's what's curious about that. Yeah. Jack Farmer says, George and I park cars in the same garage. I think on religion. That's what's up. That's what's awesome. And Mark asks, what's George's go-to song that motivates someone on a daily basis?
There is, I don't have a motivational song. I just listen to songs because I love it. And it's funny, like even today, like I've been on a huge Don't Stop the Music by Yarbrough and the People's Kick. Like I've been playing like that nonstop. Like, and it was funny because like I was working on a commercial last week, and I don't know how much I'm supposed to reveal because it's like an NDA, but who cares? Whatever. Who cares? But there was a scene where they were like roller skating down in like on a basketball court, and they were just kind of playing a lot of those like 70s, 80s type songs, and it was like Yarbrough and the Peoples and the Gap Band, and it's like a lot of those rap songs that I listened to in the 90s. The songs that they sampled were the ones playing in the not in the commercial, but just kind of getting the vibe of the commercial so that way it looks good on TV or whatever. But yeah, so it depends on the day. Like some days I'm on a Bob Dylan kick, and some days I'm on today, like I said, I've been playing Yarbrough and the Peoples nonstop. Like I think that's literally one of my top 5 songs of all time. I was playing Outstanding. But yeah, I want to say a straight motivational one. If anything, I listen to podcasts when I'm at the gym. I don't listen to music anymore when I'm at the gym. So unfortunately, I don't really have one go-to song. I just have a variety of just random tunes.
I keep a playlist. David also asks, what video game can you play forever and not get bored?
I'm a big Madden guy. Like I can play Madden and not get bored. I mean, I don't get it every year, but I think it's always fun. Sometimes the WWE games gets a little boring. I mean, I haven't bought in like a 2-3 year. I mean, the last one was I'm not going to get Battlegrounds, and like I was going to get 2K20, but there were just all these bugs. I was like, I guess it sounds like it's worth not getting. But yeah, I was always a big sports guy, especially if you're with the right group. Like if it's a group of us. I remember one of my things that I always kind of cherish the most is just kind of me being with my group of friends maybe 10, 15 years ago. We'd be all about the fight night. The EA Fight Night or whatever it's called. Fight Night. I think it's the third one.
Fight Night or Knockout Kings.
So that was always a go-to. Like those games are. I like sports games. Kingdom Hearts is always a good one. I'm a big Kingdom Hearts guy. Yeah. Like those are just fun ass games. I mean, it's hard to say forever and ever, but at some point I got to beat the game, and then I don't know how much I'm gonna want to play after I beat it. But I mean, they're just fun. Like I just like fun games.
Well, I gotta ask because his birthday is a week from Wednesday. But were you a Sonic the Hedgehog fan? Thursday this year.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun when I played it, but I never had a Sega Genesis. But when I would go to a friend's house, I'd be all about Sonic.
Same here. Yeah, I had a Nintendo. Jack Farm asked real quickly, would George rather work for a company doing what he loves or his own company doing what he loves?
That's a fantastic question.
Fantastic.
If it was up to me, I would own my own company, and that way I can, not that I'm a control freak or a micromanager, but just knowing that I have the ability to let's say if I want to do a commercial or a movie or a TV show or whatever it is, or all of the above, I would like knowing that I'm in control of whatever it is, I want to do when it comes to my company, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's always good. Adam Woods, what's up? It's always hard to say George and Moses never forget. I guess that's an inside joke. I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't get it.
According to Woods, man, also a former guest on the show. As we're running late on time there, George and Moses, I got to do one thing with you, and that's play a game. You ready?
I love games.
Oh, yeah. This is one actually is one of my favorites. It's called A Few of My Favorite Things. I'm going to ask you some things. You're going to tell me your favorite of it. Simple and plain, huh?
I dig it.
Cool. Let's go. As we talked about this a little bit before, but what is your favorite guilty pleasure music artist?
Taylor Swift.
Really? She's the biggest pop star on the planet, though.
I mean, I feel like a straight heterosexual male in the 30s that likes pro wrestling. I mean, maybe liking Taylor Swift is still a bit taboo. I don't know.
Favorite swear word?
Shit. Fuck.
Favorite sport to watch?
Football.
Favorite way to celebrate a birthday?
At home doing nothing.
Favorite way to spend a day off of work?
At home doing that. No. No, honestly, like I there's something very soothing, and I know it's I mean, we all do it. There's something very soothing about just watching wrestling. Like it's always been my go-to.
Favorite way to feel sexy?
Doing I guess getting a fresh haircut.
Oh, yeah, I know the feeling. I'm going Thursday myself. Boo! Favorite beverage?
Inca Cola.
Oh, damn. Inca Cola is dope. Have you ever had Inca Cola?
That and Snapple kiwi strawberry.
Not a Snapple apple person?
Yeah, I just like kiwi strawberry better.
It's Snapple apple and peach iced tea, bro. We're going to fight words, bro.
Although they don't make it anymore. The vitamin water, the 50-cent vitamin water.
Yeah.
That was oh man, I don't know why they discontinued it.
Probably the branding of it.
I got it.
This is my new go-to question now. Favorite pizza toppings?
Pepperoni.
Just one?
I was more a pepperoni and cheese guy. I mean, I'm more of a meat lovers guy. And no pineapples. Oh God, no. Never a big veggies guy in general. So I'm a meat lovers guy. So if I had to choose, I'm more of a pepperoni guy.
Most underrated wrestler of all time, Daddy.
Beautiful Bobby Eaton.
Yeah, he's your favorite wrestler for sure. And lastly, favorite childhood fandom?
Had to be pro wrestling.
What? I mean, that's kind of second favorite.
All right. Okay. MC Hammer.
What the artist or the cartoon? Because there are two different things.
the artist.
Hammer.
And if we're gonna talk about old school cartoons, what was that? Oh God, what was it called? The one with Michael Jordan and Wayne Gretzky and Bo Jackson.
Pro Stars.
Pro Stars.
Yeah.
That and was it Wish Kid?
Wish Kid. Yep. That's back. NBC back when they had cartoons. Are you a pineapple and pizza person? That's they're asking in the chat.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Why not?
Pineapple does not belong on pizza.
Don't start with that. You
should
live and let live.
Are you going to put apples or oranges on pizza?
That'd be silly. I want to put apples on pizza. Live and let live, man. If people like pineapples, let them live.
If apples don't belong on pizza, then why do pineapples don't belong on pizza? Like, no, they just don't.
Because apples and pineapples are two different flavor profiles. That makes no sense. That doesn't make any sense. If tomatoes can go on pizza, why not cucumbers? Why would I do that?
Well, isn't pineapple a form of apple?
No.
They call it something else then.
They do. In every other language but English, it's called ananas. In French and Spanish,
really?
It's ananas. Or piña, but Steve Coffin asked you a question about this before we went to the game. He says, which number one podcast to listen to at the gym, and why is it one of Jim Cornette's?
It is. You know what's funny? I've never listened to a Jim Cornette podcast.
Never?
But it is more oftentimes than not, one of the podcasts that I listen to at the gym is usually a Steve Kaufman YouTube podcast.
Steve Kaufman owns YouTube, man.
I think right now, last time today I was at the gym and it was the I want to say the Ahmed Johnson episode of Something to Wrestle With.
Yeah, Steve Kaufman owns the YouTubes. I want him on the show, but he's like moving and shaking. Totally understand. Yeah, that's right. I think Sherman had a question. Said, yeah, pineapple is not. Yeah, it's not an apple at all. Don't listen to George whatsoever. So before we get out of here, just a quick question. It's June 2021. Are you going out traveling anywhere? Family vacations? What's that look like for you?
No, nothing currently. The closest thing is I might, fingers crossed, I might have a job in Vegas at the end of the month. Nothing's for sure yet. I mean, it was kind of thrown out there, so we'll see how that goes. And if that's the case, then I'd like to maybe find some places I can train. And depending on how long I'm in Vegas for, obviously, I'm not moving there in any way, shape, or form or for a fashion. But I'd like to, because I was actually talking to Sin Bodie on Saturday. Yeah, and I was like, hey man, like,
do you talk to him normally or in Carney speak?
Kizarni, yeah. No, I talk to him normally, yeah. I was asking like, hey, I might be in Vegas for a job. Like, do you guys like, what's your training thing? Like, yeah, just come by. Like, we'll figure it out. Because again, that's my goal was to like be able to work outside of Los Angeles as far as wrestling goes. I know we haven't talked too much about the wrestling stuff, and I can't really say too much because I still think kayfabe is a thing. And because I wrestle under a mask, I can't say exactly what my gimmick is. But or at least not in public. But yeah, I mean, I do have a match this upcoming Saturday. I had a couple matches. I had a match on the 5th of May, and I had one April 28th, I think it was April 28th or 29th. But again, I have another match on this upcoming Saturday on the 19th. I have another one on July 31st. I have another one August 14th. But I'm hoping to fill in some blanks, just trying to get myself out there.
You're moving and shaking, and to be honest with you, I feel like everyone always asks you about the wrestling. Much like when I go on my friend's podcast, they ask about my podcast, which is great to talk about. But I'm so much more, Daddy. So I'm so glad to be able to talk to about your fandoms of pizza toppings and 90s sitcoms. This to me warms my heart. It's what the show's about. But George, I'm glad that you're able to roll through with me today. It's about that time we get out of here. It's after hours, about to be closed in just a bit. If someone want to go follow you, stalk you online, find you, or try to shake you to put more new content on your social media channels, how do they go about doing it?
It's coming. I know right now. Well, no, because I know right now we're doing a lot more interview based because it's one of those. And again, unfortunately, I get very demotivated by certain things, and you just got to keep on trucking. That's why I got respect for yourself, for Jack, for a lot of those guys that just putting out content no matter what. So I got tons of respect for that. So because and looking at some of the YouTube views of some of the videos that I've done, I'm like, oh man, like nobody cares what we have to say. But then I look at some of the other like videos that like there's one video I wasn't in it, but that I put together. Interviewing one of the XPW guys, and that's like knocking on 10,000 views door, and I'm like, even like another one's like knocking on like 7,000 door, and like and I thought Victoria was like going to be the top video that I did, but like no, like that's not even first or second anymore. So yeah, I kind of want to keep the interviews going, but I do want to also go back to the other stuff because that's what kind of I've always wanted to do too. So once I kind of gain enough traction that I'm hoping like, oh, cool. Now I can show you what else we were doing as well. So kind of bring back to that. So yeah, we're going to get back to some of those argumentative kind of discussions that I've always liked watching and hopefully being a part of when it comes to pro wrestling. But in the meantime, you can go to the Wrestling Chatter YouTube channel, click that subscribe button. I think we're at like 690 subscribers. So no, I think I surpassed 700. I think it's like at 704 now. Jealous. So the countdown to 1,000 is on. I want to start making maybe $1 a month once it becomes monetized. However that works. That's more maybe a Steve Kaufman question. Yeah, and I mean I'm in the process of maybe putting some more stuff together as far as Facebook and maybe Instagram if that coincides with whatever it is that I'm trying to do with the YouTube channel. Personally, you can follow me on Twitter, Hermoza, GHERMOZA, on Instagram as well. I wanted to promote my wrestling Instagram, but that would completely break kayfabe. I maybe just keep an eye out. Just keep an eye out.
Can you tell me about your favorite wrestler's Instagram then? I don't know how this works.
It's a work in progress. That's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah. I would say if you see me like promoting something on Instagram, that's maybe my favorite wrestler. Maybe hint, that might be me. But
like Coco Cabana and Matt Classic.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even know that was him until much later. Yeah, I mean, I thank you for having me. This was fun. I wish it was 2 hours long. I feel like we just scratch the surface, I guess you can say.
I was even wanting more, man. I want you back on the show. You're just a dime. And I gotta tell you, this top 7 European title match episode, I still have my notes. So you let me know when we're doing it, and we're totally doing the wrestling chatter. Okay.
We have the same number 1, right?
But there's only really one match where it was like treated as like a serious title, and that was Bulldog Owen Hart, I think. That's my number 1.
I mean, I was gonna say Triple H and Owen from WrestleMania 14.
What? No,
D'Lo and Midian from
D'Lo
it was fully loaded 99.
D'Lo is 2 through 75, but I'm just saying.
I was at an indie show this past Saturday. That's true. I'm going to break that record, Adam Woods. I was at an indie show this past Saturday, and they were advertising D'Lo to be like the commissioner, and I was like, but I didn't know that until I got to the show. But I guess he wasn't able to make it. But I remember, like, I heard the ramblings, backstage, because I wasn't wrestling on that show, but I was just kind of there to kind of the usual thing in pro wrestling when you want to get a match is go to a show, help out. Hopefully, maybe you can get on the next show, or whatever it is. So I was just kind of there helping out. But yeah, I was like, dude, if D'Lo's going to be here, I'm going to totally tell Flobo to come and whatever, Actually, I don't know if you know him, Mike Wexler. Is that his name?
Mike? Sock Monkey Mike?
Yeah, he was at the show as a fan. I was like, hey, buddy, like we did a lead of the week not too long ago. And then he didn't remember me until I said Jack Farmer's lead of the week. But again, I was like, man, Flobo is totally going to pop if I say I'm at a show with D'Lo, but I guess he can make it. But apparently, he might be at future shows anyway. I guess he was at a previous show for that same company. So
I want to be able to have a real conversation with D'Lo. I actually had a chance to talk with him this year for 7 minutes for the hashtag show, because I was doing an Impact review, but it had to be only about Impact. Couldn't be about anything else. And I was like such a fanboy at the end. I had my little action figure like, I love you, D'Lo. It was so bad. So I want to redo. But yes, let me know what's going on. But of course, until that time, after hours are closed, we gotta get out of here. Learn more about the show at newamsterdam.com, KNWAmsterdam.com. Follow George Hermoza. He's a good guy. Little bit of enigma. That's why I love him so much. But you know how the deal is. I'm about to get out of here. George, any final words?
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Stay tuned to myself and Flobo and everyone else. I guarantee there are big things coming up in the horizon.
The bed is still the land.